On episode 50-ish of the Anime Culture Corner, starting a manga, or manhwa, I guess, getting obsessed with it and catching up to the current chapter in a single day because he has nothing better to do, Solo Leveling. Now, the last time I made one of these videos, I think was with Record of Ragnarok a couple months ago. So this is the first time in a while that I've really binged a series, and after catching up, all I can tell you is that any hype you've heard about Solo Leveling, it's true. This manhwa is fire. It's gas. It's a lit match in a gas station in the middle of hell. It's that flame. I literally could not peel my eyes off the computer screen when I was reading. It is so utterly addicting and captivating. And so today I'm breaking down, spoiler free of course, what I love about Solo Leveling. If I can even get to all of that in just one video. And everything that truly makes it stand out as one of my favorite manhwa/manga to this day. Roll the intro. In the world of Solo Leveling, the gate appeared 10 years ago that connected our world to one full of magic and monsters. In response, this caused many ordinary people to quote-unquote awaken. They receive superhuman powers that allow them to fight said monsters. And the people who did this became hunters. And this job of being a hunter is actually pretty profitable if you're good at it. You enter gates with parties and defeat monsters. Their armor and crystals within the gates being worth tons of money should you survive and actually win. And our main character, Sung Jinwoo, is a hunter. But he's renowned as the world's weakest. He's the lowest of the low, even among E ranks, which is the bottom rank. But he must continue entering gates despite always being injured and getting beat up every time to pay his comatose mom's medical bills. But after a gate gone wrong, Jinwoo wakes up in a hospital, finding a menu screen in front of him that no one else can see. This system, as it is dubbed, forces him to become a player and fulfill a daily quest consisting of what is basically a One Punch Man exercise routine. And if he doesn't fulfill these daily requirements to become stronger, then he faces a significant penalty. And through this system that is akin to a single player game almost, Jinwoo realizes that he can actually become stronger and level up, hence the title, through earning XP and item drops, a feat that is thought to be impossible among hunters. Once you awaken, normally, your power limit is set. You can't grow or get stronger. However, with Jinwoo's new unique power, who used to be the world's weakest sets out on a journey to become one of the most fearsome hunters the world has ever seen. The easiest comparison I can draw this series to, at surface level at least, is One Punch Man. The way that we see a super weak main character become immensely strong and constantly be underestimated as he shocks the world, meeting this organization full of dynamic and interesting hunters, or heroes in One Punch Man, that Sung Jinwoo interacts with. There's a lot of similarities, but I would be hard-pressed to mention much other than that, because Solo Leveling has a lot of differences and has a much darker and complex system driving the series that puts it leagues ahead of One Punch Man or any anime like this for me. First off, the main character, Jinwoo, has to be one of the coolest, most badass, overpowered main characters I've ever seen. Saitama, Kirito, Goku, all of them in my opinion don't hold a candle to this guy. I mean, to start with, Jinwoo has astronomical drip. This dude never misses on any outfits, and in my eyes he definitely rivals top tier anime fashion kings like Ichigo. I mean, is there anything cooler than being awesome, dominating your opponents, and shocking really cool hunters, and looking good doing it? He starts off as this really scrawny kid, but as he gets more skill points and increases his stats through the system, it is physically reflected in his body type too. And the man upgrades his fashion to go along with it. Which actually brings me to my next point, which is just how satisfying it is to watch Jinwoo get stronger throughout the manhwa. Because of the way Solo Leveling works and how Jinwoo is basically leveling up through this internal quest log of his, The story is very similar to a single-player adventure game. He picks up cool items that get better as his enemies get stronger, some of which even have like set bonuses. They can heal stats or boost his strength attribute by 15. He can get specific skills too, like this one that literally gives him the force and lets him force choke people and throw them around like they're toys, and one called Bloodlust that stops enemies in their tracks out of pure fear. He also earns a class later on, something that all hunters have, like mage or healer, but because of how this internal game works, he's not just OP in his specific class, he's OP in like every single category there is. Throughout the story, these high-tier hunters think they have him all pinned down and figured out, but then he uses insane healing, assassin tricks, and close combat skills that are all so strong equally that no one can even comprehend it. And the best part is, all of these items and skills come back later on in the story. Nothing is forgotten, they all remain in his inventory. And it's just so immensely satisfying to see the physical manifestation of Jinwoo's wins through his new skills or items he acquires. The best parts of playing your own single-player game in real life is finding these really rare items that drops from bosses, and unlocking really cool but niche skills through like a skill tree. We see all of this through solo leveling as Jinwoo gets stronger, and as a big fan of games like The Witcher 3 and Skyrim, this is straight up just like that and it's so much fun. Not to mention, just like in those top tier adventure games, the world building in Solo Leveling is awesome. I mean, you really get engrossed in it. We start off on this really small scale as we learn the ins and outs of how gates and ranks and hunters work as Jinwoo gets onto his feet. We see the micro scale of the daily life of hunters, and how desperate it can get for small timers just trying to make a living while risking their lives every day. And then as Jinwoo gets stronger, we get introduced to a huge cast of strong hunters with really dynamic powers, turning into beasts, fire, assassin skills. It starts in South Korea where the story originates, and we meet S-rank hunters, which is the top tier. But then later on, it expands to the whole world, where we realize that the top S-rank isn't even enough to describe just how strong some of the people in the world are. That there are even nation-level hunters who have the power rivaling kings simply because of how strong they are. And as expected with so many other cool human characters, it means that Jinwoo isn't just fighting monsters all the time. Even though these fights are cool and awesome, and the monster character designs are also dope, the best part of the series for me stems from his interactions and conflicts with other hunters. There will be times when he meets them and he can't even hold a candle to them. But after going through a dungeon and leveling up a lot, he comes back and overpowers them completely, since he's literally the only hunter out there who can continuously get stronger. And every hunter has a specific power according to their class, and I won't spoil, but Jinwoo's is insanely cool. He literally sets the standard of what it means to be a one-man army, and it's just so badass how his skills improve and the various ways he uses it in both a combat setting and just in normal life as well. The manhwa also never really slows down. It's like you're on a moving train, watching Jinwoo improve and battle constantly, and then the moment the train stops, another boss steps on the train along with loads of new plot information that can barely fit onto the carriage itself. Like, it is so hard to stop reading because every chapter you're introduced to something new, or you're in the middle of a huge fight. And the manhwa itself has actually been split up onto 2 seasons so far. The first season is really good. It focuses a lot more on Jinwoo's personal growth, of course because it's the beginning of the story, and coming to grips with being a strong hunter and finding his place in the world. And the idea of improving in this almost game-like setting and finding items and new skills is really important. It also has a lot more emphasis on other side characters in fleshing out the world. But a big part of the story is actually Jinwoo trying to understand the origin of his powers, as it is unheard of for a hunter to be able to constantly get stronger. And I mean, no surprise here, there is more to his power. And thus, in the second season, it's focusing a lot more on that overarching plot, and also Jinwoo low-key just flexing how strong he is on everyone else. but it's also a lot darker and more serious now. So in that sense, the moment it feels like Jinwoo hits a wall, or the train is reaching its last destination in Solo Leveling, it's like a plane just comes and swoops him up instead, and we're taken to a whole different world and setting to be engrossed in once again. The series never stops getting bigger and throwing new things your way, and it honestly left me in awe how amazing it's been so far. I cannot wait to keep reading the series and see where it goes. What do you guys think? If you've read Solo Leveling, did you like it as much as I did? It's honestly just awesome. There's no other words I have for it. If you haven't gotten around to it or even heard of it before today, I highly recommend it. Please read it, guys. It's so good. As always, this has been the Anime Culture Corner. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future in-depth show, manga, and character analyses.